Hello, I'm WBZ TV meteorologist Barry Burbank, and I have your forecast for this Saturday and for the next several days. A quick review of yesterday's observed high temperatures across the region. It's kind of unusual to have it this cool in July. Certainly it was muggy yesterday, so it did feel somewhat summer-like, but these were your highs. Boston was around 70. Areas to the northwest of Boston and a few areas to the south were between 72 and 74 for highs. But the average high for the day is around 81, so we're below average yesterday. So we're back to summer today, but of course you know what happened yesterday because it was so cool. We had all the cloud cover, we had some rain falling, and a lot of rain in a very short period of time fell on Cape Cod and the islands. For example, in the Barnstable area, the rainfall yesterday, 4.74 inches. And that happened in 2 hours or a little bit under 2 hours. Now, the average for July, for the entire month for the Barnstable area, 2.59 inches. So you can see how much rain fell in a very short period of time, resulting in a lot of massive flooding going on down there. West Barnstable, 4.74. Centerville had 4.5 inches. Osterville had almost 4.4. Marston's Mills had about 4.1. And East Falmouth had about 3 3/4 inches of rain. And that was really something as the rain moved up across that region and just really clobbered those places, while as you got to the north, over parts of the South Shore communities and up through Boston, there was not nearly as much. They missed that entire blob of rain which moved over the Cape. So places like Randolph had 7/10 of an inch, Stoneham 6/10 from our WBZ weather watchers. Worcester only had a 1/2 inch. Boxborough had 4/10, and about the same up in Nashua, New Hampshire. And officially at Logan Airport was only 3/10 of an inch. So July so far, the mean temperature is above average by 2 degrees. We had that last 3 days being a little bit below average in Boston, and certainly yesterday with that cool weather. But we'll be back to some red squares as we get back closer to the average. And we'll be looking at some hot weather coming up, but really not in the next week. I'm not expecting any 90-degree days for the next 7 days. We've already had 8 of those days so far this season. Last year we had 22 total. That was amazing. You go back to 2010 and we had 24 then. So we had 24 just off the map here, 24 in 2010. We had another big year in 2013, and then last year was a big year, but this year should not be a big year. But we'll see what happens. Last year we had 12 days in July. It was an extremely hot July, especially the second half of July, and so far we're not seeing that yet in the overall outlook in some of the charts as we go for the longer range. Today's highs will be in the mid to some upper 80s, closer to or just under 80 on the south coast, and about 72 at Nantucket today. And then looks like for tomorrow we'll have temperatures in the 80s for the most part and 90s across much of the nation. And it looks like pretty hot weather building out west. Eventually probably some of that hot weather is going to try to come back toward New England, but it's not going to be coming here for quite a while, at least temperatures in the 90s. What is coming our way this afternoon is this frontal boundary approaching to set off the thunderstorms, and that's the low center over the Canadian Maritimes, which gave the rain to Cape Cod yesterday. This afternoon we'll keep an eye to the sky, off to the west and northwestern sky for potential thunderstorms. They should be coming along and probably regenerating during the afternoon. There were some big ones over New York State early this morning. They sort of weakened, but should be kindling again and percolating this afternoon as we get some greater instability coming into the region. They may be aligned all along the Mass Pike. This model says about 5 o'clock this afternoon. It may be earlier than that, with some indications I'm seeing. It could be the first half of the afternoon moving into northern Massachusetts and then getting the second half of the afternoon moving down into southeastern Mass. But as they move southeastward, they're probably going to fall apart, and at this point there's just a remote risk that one shower could touch Cape Cod. Looks like the Cape will be out of the rain regime for today after they suffered enough yesterday with all that heavy rain. Overnight a little bit of cloud cover, and then tomorrow we start off with a lot of bright sunshine, and it'll turn partly cloudy during the day with most of the clouds across the northern mountains. If you're going up there in the northern lakes region, to the northern mountains, there'll be some clouds coming across tomorrow with a few scattered afternoon showers. There will not be any rain here in southern sections. And on Monday, again, more of the clouds up in northern New England. It may turn partly cloudy down here, but both those days, tomorrow and Monday, will feature low humidity. Nice days coming up. But this afternoon, there is a marginal risk of some scattered severe weather as issued by the Storm Prediction Center. So we'll keep an eye in the sky for a possibility that some of these will contain some damaging wind and some hail and of course some heavy rain. But the heavy rain should not last more than 15 to 25 minutes, and a very, very low risk of any spin-up tornado. So if you're going to the beaches today, you want to keep an eye to the sky, especially if you're going to the North Shore beaches. If you're going to stay down on Cape Cod, going to the Rhode Island beaches, I think you're in pretty good shape. You won't have to worry about the showers or storms. The tide will be high about noontime today, and the water temperatures are getting to the 60s. And a couple of spots around the Cape and the shallow bays are getting closer to 70. Speaking of the Cape, just a remote risk that could be an isolated shower down there later this afternoon. Otherwise, Sunday, Monday look like beautiful days, close to 80, give or take a couple degrees, depending if you're close to the ocean. And the dew points are going to be changing over the week. We got the muggy weather this afternoon with the dew point 67. So that's in the sort of in the sticky approaching oppressive zone. Tomorrow it plunges down to 51, and these dew points are approximate for around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Mondays are still in the comfortable range, under 60 degrees. Tuesday it gets muggy again, and then Wednesday it gets a bit drier, not super dry, but at least a bit drier on Wednesday than it'll be on Tuesday. Overnight lows, 67 in Boston, upper 50s and lower 60s in the suburbs, and we'll have a full moon tonight. It's called the full buck moon, or called the hay moon, the full hay moon, or the full thunder moon. In any event, it's full. It's exactly full at 12:09 in the morning. By daybreak, 67 in Boston, 60 degrees in the suburbs, and we'll have a very light breeze. Tomorrow's high should be around the middle 80s or so, and we're looking at nice low humidity coming up for tomorrow. And ditto for Monday, as the temperature is a little bit higher, but a nice breeze out of the west-southwest, 2 beautiful days. Muggy again with lots of clouds featuring more showers and storms primarily Tuesday afternoon, a little less humid on Wednesday, perhaps a bit of rain in southern New England Wednesday night and Thursday morning. And the second half of next week will be cooler, especially the coast, mostly upper 70s inland to upper 60s at the coast. So as you can see, no 90s ahead. You can watch WBZ News today at 6 and 11 o'clock. Also, you can see it on My TV 38 at 8 o'clock for the latest news and weather updates. Have a nice rest of the weekend.